So finally we have received some kind of news concerning 3+1. As with every year on August, Anno released a teaser image, I guess, concerning the upcoming movie. It is not yet a release date, but it is better than nothing. There's going to be spoiler for the appearance of a new Evangelion unit. Here's the picture. As you can see, this is Mark 10. In the rest of the video I'm going to speculate about what its role could be in 3+1. First off, what does it look like? Well, it's got a weird oval face and a cross shape reminiscent of the number 10, fittingly. Of course, the Evas do have oval faces generally, but they are also generally covered by a helmet of some kind. This one doesn't seem to have one, or better yet, to have an unusual version of one. And in fact, it seems like that cross-shaped thing is keeping it somewhat together, or at least sealing it to some extent. When you combine that with a very generic looking Evangelion body, you get one of the simplest unit designs. So simple in fact that I believe this could be just one of a series of units with that very same look. So here's what I think. I think that this could very well be the rebuild version of the mass-produced Evangelions from the end of Evangelion. Here is why. First off, in the end of Evangelion, the mass-produced Evas were numbered from Mark 5 to Mark 13, 9 units overall. So, in spite of being all the same in terms of looks, they each had a different number. In the rebuild, we also have 14 units, from 0 to 13, but they certainly have more variety to them. A bit of a late disclaimer, I will be using the terms mark and unit interchangeably. This is not perfectly accurate to the naming convention of Evangelion, but it shouldn't be a problem because there is no overlap in numbers between the units and the marks. So if there is mark, for example, 6, there is no unit 6. The only exception here would be Mark 4 and Unit 4, but because Mark 4 has nothing to do with humanoid Evangelions, I'm not even gonna consider it at all. We have Unit 0, that's Rei, of course. Unit 1, Xinji. Unit 2, Asuka. Unit 3, that's the unit that is taken over by Bardiel, while Asuka is testing in 2.22. Unit 4 is missing, supposed to be a white unit. Unit 5, that's Mari's unit in 2.22 at the beginning. Unit 6, Kaworu's unit in 2.22. Unit 7 is missing for now. Unit 8, that's Mari's pink unit in 3.33. Unit 9, it is Rei's unit in 3.33. Unit 10 is the newly released one. 11 and 12 are missing. And Unit 13 is Kaworu and Xinji's unit, still in 3.33. Now, as you can see, we are missing 7, 11, and 12. As far as 7 is concerned, I can't really say much, but maybe the Wunder airship could count as that unit. Okay, I feel like I have to add this, even though it is a bit of a stretch. In the Gospel of John, Jesus performs 7 miracles. Now, Wunder in German can be translated as miracle. So, if the miracles of Jesus are 7 and Wunder means miracle, then it makes sense that Wunder is unit number 7, or better yet, a repurposed unit number 7 that has been turned into an airship. I mean, it does have some Eva features to it, but as far as 11 and 12 are concerned, if we go by the classification of the mass-produced Evas, each having a different number, and we apply that classification pattern to the new Unit 10, which seems to be generic looking enough to have more than one version of it, we could easily assume that the missing Unit 11 and 12 could be copies of Unit 10, thus completing the entire set of 14 Evas. I mean, it is now or never. They either complete the set in this movie or they're not going to. The more interesting question, though, is who is going to pilot the units? I think the answer is Rei. But with 3 units, 3 Reis would be needed, Of course, maybe there is simply going to be one, in which case it is likely going to be Ray Q's unit. But let's go by the idea that there are going to be three different, but at the same time, same looking versions of Unit 10. Unit 10, 11, and 12. And let's go back to the preview of 3.33 at the end of the second movie. There we can see a 14-year-old Ray accompanied by three other Rays, except these Rays are of course little girls. I'm assuming, though it is not certain, that the teen Ray is the same Ray that we see in 3.33. In fact, among the things that she's keeping in her room, Ray, from Q, has the very same uniform that teen Ray is wearing during this particular sequence. But the other three Rays are missing. Of course, my theory is that those three Rays will be the pilots of Unit 10, 11, and 12. In the trailer of 3+1, we get a brief glimpse of Fuyutsuki awakening a new Ray. Now, of course, that's what I'm saying. It is not necessarily what is going on, but let's assume that it is. Going by this theory, the three Rays in question would have been kept in a tank or something like that for years, waiting to be awakened at the right time. This could also justify their aging up to the seemingly fixed physical development pilots can achieve, as of course the Ray from the trailer clearly isn't a kid anymore. So, 3 missing Rays for 3 missing EVA units, 3 clones for 3 copies of the same unit. Of course, it is possible that 3.33 Ray is one of those kids, and that she may be kidnapped by Nerv and used as one of the pilots at some point in the movie. How, I don't really know. Lastly, to further tie together Unit 10 to the mass-produced EVAs, let's look to the scene in End of Evangelion where they develop a human face as they are piercing themselves with the spears. I was pointing out at the beginning that the new unit has an oval face that seems human-like. Now let's assume that the cross-shaped thing on its face is not a visor, but some sort of seal. Well, I fully expect that if that seal ever gets broken, Mark 10 will develop a human face, more specifically Ray's face, just like the mass-produced EVAs did in End of Evangelion.